Here we go. Going live. Any schmuckus? Do I have any schmuckus? Get the schmuckus off my face. Tuning in, everybody. Welcome to 410. Well, 420 live with Geoff Kravitz. It's 4:10 p.m. and we are kicking off Friday of 420 weekend. The end of our 420 week celebration. Now we're cutting into the 420 weekend celebration. It's 420 all month long here, folks. I am Geoff Kravitz. I bring you a daily distraction from the minutiae that is running our world, the news, the never-ending bad news, the good news, all the in-between. We're just trying to get away from it all here, and that's been the whole impetus for me to start this show and to come to you. I've been doing this live since March 16th. This is our 5th week, our 5th day. I haven't stopped. I haven't had a day off. Not that I need a day off, because every day is a day off. I can sleep as late as I want. And then I get to come out here and talk to all my friends on the Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and check in and make sure, right? And talk to some of my incredible network of people. You know, I reached out and was able to talk to Tommy Chong yesterday. And if you were tuning in and watched the drama, I think my kids had more fun watching me fumble around like an old stoner, me and Tommy. That was a hell of a routine. 2 old stoners fumbling with technology, but we finally got it done. And we did it on Instagram, and I posted it up on YouTube and Facebook in a format. My editor, Jordan Hartman, he cut it so you could see it horizontally, which is great, and cut off all the noise that was coming in. And it's really funny, great watch. And you know, that guy, I've decided he's the most interesting man interesting man in the world, because he's done so much. And you ask him a question and it goes into, well, yeah, me and George Harrison were smoking a joint, and you're just like, wait, hold on, that's a whole story right there. But that's part of the story to get you into what the real story is. So his stories are like onions. You start getting in and peeling them. And I think I could have talked to Tommy for like 8 hours. And I went up to his house yesterday. He lives right up the road from me, about a mile and a half away, and dropped off a solo pipe for him. And everybody wants to send me things now to give to Tommy. So I'm going to go through the list later on today of everything. You know, it's crazy out there right now. Our whole world is revolting. People are tired of being locked up. They don't want to listen. They don't want to listen to anybody that has any kind of semblance of intelligence about these issues. Dr. Fauci is now lying and towing the corporate line, because he knows that if he doesn't, he's going to put some other idiot up there. So it's better that he's up there trying to give us it in a way that we know that we have to read between the lines, because he can't tell us the truth anymore, because his boss is going to fire him, and he doesn't want that to happen. So we're in a really weird position in our world, and we have to rely on each other, and do not go out and don't go to any of those protests unless you want to try and see what's going to happen. I mean, I don't think I'm going to be going out anytime soon. I said something like to my wife. She's like, "Are you crazy? You're not going anywhere." So anyway, I digress. I am not here to talk about the minutiae. I am here to distract you from your day. So that's what I'm here to do. One of the biggest issues in my life, and everybody that's my friends, is music, because we are all probably we all consider ourselves huge music fans. We get into conversations about shows and tapes and this moment and that moment and song teases and everything else. It's what show's the best. I mean, when you have fans and you're all fans together, you're in a team. You're a team, and you guys hang out together. You go to shows together. You commiserate when your band's killing it and when they suck. You know, it's people for you to gravitate with, that are involved in things that you like. And the thing I miss the most, and what I don't see happening in the foreseeable future, is us being able to all get together and be able to celebrate live music. And I do my little pre-show on Instagram, and one of the things I was talking about is the old Oculus goggles. I really think that if this goes much longer, a lot of our favorite shows will probably be doing some kind of reality-based show where they're playing and there's an avatar on stage. It's them, and you're an avatar in the crowd, and you find somewhere for everybody to hang out. That would be the other thing. How do you get your avatar to hang out where all your friends are? inside the crowd. I guess you go into a room, but there's going to be some kind of future paradigm. We see it happening now with work. We see it happening now with our play, with our entertainment. We're all Zooming. We're all house partying. Everything's in the virtual world. Thank God we have those things. They didn't have those things when they had typhoid fever or in 2018 with the Spanish flu. You were locked up. You were locked up. At least now we're in touch with our world and we're able to, listen to great shows. And I think that's one of the great things now. HBO has opened up 500 hours of programming. The Grateful Dead is releasing shows they've never released before. Fish is doing stuff. Every band's out there, and all the people that are artists are home are all working hard to do it. This is 420 week, so we are going to talk about cannabis. But I did warn our guests that in the beginning I wanted to talk about what's happening, because I think I don't want to not talk about the white elephant in the room, and everybody now is concerned. If you don't know what's happening in the headlines, in the past 2 days, there's been movement with the refunds and how everybody's setting their policy on how everybody's going to get their money back. So if you have any of those basic questions, we can ask our guests coming up today. I'm going to introduce them now. I have Don Strasburg. He heads up AEG, the Mountain Region. He's an old friend of mine. I've known him for decades. And Geoff Gordon, coming to us from Live Nation in Philadelphia. Philadelphia is where I cut my teeth as a young music fan. Electric Factory, Larry Magid, they were the guys that gave us all our entertainment back in those days with WMMR in Philadelphia. And it was a way for us. They helped us grow and get into all these crazy bands that we love so much. The Who, Genesis, Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin. I mean, these were the bands that came up in the 70s. And these guys were the concert promoters that started all that. And this is that next generation. So I'm going to bring them in now. Say hi to Don. Hello, Don. Say
hi,
something,
Kravitz.
Don.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Good. Hello, Geoff.
Hey.
Geoff Gordon, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, center yourself a little bit. Yeah, because now we're in a trio. So I want to just ask both of you, Don, give us a little bit of your background and how you ended up getting to where you are today in a little synopsis.
Let's see. In 1990, I basically started working with Fish. I brought Fish to Colorado in 1990. And in 92, I opened a little club in Boulder called the Fox Theater. One thing led to another, and took some car rides with Geoff Gordon in the late 90s. And then next thing you know, wound up was at Live Nation for a long time. Then we defected and went over to AEG and opened up the AEG Rocky Mountain region. And, we're doing all right. It's good times. Well, it's a little challenging right now, but, was definitely good times.
So you guys worked together back in the day in the Live Nation. That was early days, right? That's 20.
Right out of the gate.
Wow, crazy. And Geoff, how about you? You're from originally from Philadelphia area, or? Oh,
I'm from Rochester, New York, originally, upstate New York.
Okay, great.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's just a little lag, I think. But go ahead.
Okay, good. Sorry. How about now? I actually just did that. Sorry. No, but I've been in Philadelphia over 25 years. I started down in Fort Lauderdale at a company called Cellar Door. It's 17 years old, and did a lot of other jobs, and just wanted to be in the music business. Started picking bands to play some of the area clubs that we booked, and then started these clubs called The Edge. Played Dave down there, and Fish, and Pearl Jam, and Beastie Boys, and I guess Dust Brothers. I mean, a lot of the EDM stuff was big down in Florida. Kind of grew with them in the trajectory, and here I am now.
So Live Nation has been on everybody's everybody's talking about the refunds and what's going on. I know your boss came out a couple days ago and said everything's going to come back. Everybody's going to be able to get the money back for shows that aren't rescheduled. The what's happening is we're not even sure the rescheduled dates.
I don't think. Well, hold on. I don't believe we're ever not giving money back for canceled shows. I don't think that ever changed. I think we were giving money. Canceled shows, people got the money back.
Right, but the rescheduled shows now, I mean, because a lot of people are going to come into things where who the hell knows what's going to be happening in 6 or 8 or 12 months. So, I mean, eventually there's going to have to be an option, I guess. And when is everybody going to pull the plug? You see what's happening in LA and New Orleans now, where they're not allowing any kind of concert or get together for the year 2021. And I know AEG just had to pull the plug on Jazz Fest 2 days after the mayor said we're not going to allow any festivals. So I think it's going to be a higher power eventually going to come down and kind of kibosh this.
Yeah, and let's be clear. You know, Don talks about the old times, which I guess we can call them old times now because we get older, and we had a lot of good old times. And you know, it's agnostic at this point. I mean, there really isn't an Live Nation position, AEG position. It's a science position. It's a light position. It's a safety position. It's a concern position. I don't want to speak for both companies and any stretch of imagination, but I will say that I think we all are aligned. I know we all are aligned that safety is first and making sure we approach this in the right way. What those answers are, I couldn't tell you. And there's people that are smarter than I that actually will formulate them and hopefully with some of our input, but it will be a process, and it's always safety first. We've been through a lot, as you know, a lot of different situations, including tragedy in Vegas and Ariana's show. This is different because you can't see it coming. I'm not sure you saw that coming either.
No, not at all.
But we adjusted better than any other business possible and reinstated consumer confidence through those tragedies and those problems. And we're very good at that. And I think we'll continue to do it responsibly because number one is we care about the fans. And that's without the fans, we all know we don't have a business, and we're humbled by the fact that they attend these and the artists that need to be safe and so on and so forth.
Yeah. Don, what do you think?
I mean, couldn't agree more with Geoff, obviously. AEG and Live Nation, I think Live Nation just announced as well. On May 1st, both companies are going to issue refunds for 30 days for every of the new shows, every show that's postponed that has a new date. And the basis behind that is twofold. One, you kind of don't know if you can go to the show or you can't go to the show until you announce a new date. I mean, like, well, how do we know you can't go if we haven't told you what the day of the show is? Fair enough. Part of the reason why we're really looking to try to get the answers quicker, who is it? Is trying to get the answers in 30 days and asking people to do their refunds promptly is, let's just say there's so many shows that are getting postponed, so many obviously, and we need to have clarity on what tickets we can resell to the public. If you had a second row seat, at some show and you're sitting dead center, somebody wants that seat, and we don't want a scalper sitting on that seat just trying to hustle that seat for 4 months and then decide, I couldn't get enough money for it, I couldn't get face value, whatever, and then just says, I want my money back. So the people who need their money back will be able to get their money back promptly. And I think most people who are looking forward to joining their friends and family and their community together again at live music are pretty excited to hopefully hold on to their seats and, do it again when we can. I'm calling it's Groundhog Day every which way. And a lot of times we'll just redo it and come back around and just pretend that a certain period of time here, we'll just chop it out. It didn't exist. Let's start over.
Well, you talk about scalpers, all those secondary companies like StubHub and all the Viagogo, all that stuff is going to disappear. I mean, how are they going to stay in business if there's nothing to resell for the next couple of years?
So they were also a flawed model to begin with because both of our companies.
I don't know. Yeah, I was just going to say I don't know if we feel bad for any of that happening, quite frankly.
Well, of course, but there has to be some kind of there has to be a better way to sell tickets. You talked about the scalpers and then buying tickets. I mean, that's a huge issue. We're getting bent over backwards as fans. You take Fish at the Garden where you're spending $1,000 for a floor seat 20 times or 10 times the value for a floor seat. And not on New Year's Eve, just on a regular night, and you're just like, what? How do
you bring up a good point? Because I mean, you guys especially, and a lot of people that are listening and came on to this Facebook Live, is that I think we all know that creative band intimately, that is not their intention by any stretch of imagination.
No, not at all.
Is to have somebody that kind of money for a check. Not even close. So
well,
controlling that and actually, go ahead, Don. Sorry, Don.
I was going to say is like, look, I mean, a lot of the debates we had in the past about, scalping and all these things and all the vicissitudes of ticketing. And a lot of people know that I was at the forefront of a lottery program and all this stuff. Reality is that we're in a new model now. And reality is that for a while here to come, the scalping, the secondary market isn't going to be vibrant. People, there are going to be a certain segment of people who are happy to come back. There'll be a segment of people who are going to be cautious. So for the people probably who are our friends who, are dyed in the wool music people, I guarantee you that you're going to see a lot less, aftermarket scalping activity, because those people, all the scalpers, are going to be scared shitless if people are going to, the demand's going to be there.
Who's going to come to the show? And I think ultimately one of the issues is when before the pandemic came, people were stepping up. I had friends that spent $3,000 on fish tickets. And then after the pandemic came, they're like, I need that $3,000 more than I need a fish show. So I think that that's part of the problem too, is that your money has a new demand on it that it didn't have when you purchased the tickets. And that's what I'm seeing. A lot of people are like, hey, I need the money that Live Nation, I'm not picking, I'm just saying as example, or AEG is holding, and I want that now, and I'm not going to be able to make the show or whatever. Don't want to go to, don't have any interest in going to shows right now, because who knows how people are going to feel comfortably wise to be amongst other folks, unless everybody's in some kind of bubble.
Well, I actually think that a lot of people who are listening to this right now are going to be the first ones to come back.
Oh, you kidding me? Fish heads will line up. You tell.
And also the reality is this like what Geoff said originally. Both of our companies are at this point working overtime in every direction to look at every proper procedure, practice, and mechanisms where we can safely open our rooms, both, so that people are comfortable and that the disease doesn't spread. I mean, and it's going to start in the smallest rooms. It's going to start, the first rooms to open are going to be 200 capacity rooms, 500 capacity rooms. And it's going to be critical that when these rooms open, that whatever procedures are in place, we don't get to see a New York Times article 2 weeks later that says all was going well till that club in Topeka opened and then 500 people got COVID. So we all really, really, really have to be extremely thorough in both protecting people, and that will also give people a level of confidence.
Well, it's definitely a conundrum we're in right now, and I don't envy either of you guys, because I'm sure the phone calls you're having are not the usual light, fun. I mean, you guys listening, I wrote a little, AEG does Coachella, Jazz Fest, Hangout, Stagecoach, Firefly, Electric Forest, Live Nation, Bonnaroo, EDC, Governor's Ball, Voodoo, also own Ticketmaster. So you guys have a lot at stake in this business, and this is something that nobody ever saw. Did you ever see any kind of major interruption, even time of war? I never fathomed that everything would just stop like this.
Yeah, it's pretty much whatever he's being told not to do is kind of what we encourage people to do usually. So it's going to be a careful process of winding, but being responsible. Like I gave a couple of examples that aren't the same, but being responsible. And the hope is that the responsible parties that actually vote responsible get the opportunity to get it back in the right swing of things with the right ideas. And I believe that's what will happen. That's usually what happens, hopefully, in times of challenge, is that smart people think of smart ways to handle things better than they thought of last time. And we'll get better at this.
And you know what? They will
everything
come up with a cure. It's not if, it's when.
Right.
And the reality is that, a lot of the governors are out there saying that we need a vaccine. And, of course, we need a vaccine. But in a timely fashion, in order to get this business, call it a business, call it whatever you want, our family out together and back up enjoying what we love more than anything, they need to get a cure or some level of a vaccine, of a treat the symptoms, kind of like a Tamiflu type thing. We know they're making headway on this, and the reality is that if they can start getting 90%, 95% of the people who aren't terribly compromised, who catch something and can be treated. And, one of the government officials we talked about said, look, you don't have a vaccine for strep throat. And, scarlet fever used to kill untold amounts of people. Now you take penicillin. Right. Once that comes down, which I think will actually be sooner rather than later, that will certainly get us back up to speed.
All right. Well, here's your curveball question of the day. with the vacuum and leadership we have at the top, he's now deferring to the local governors to make decisions on when they're going to open up, so forth and so on. So we see Florida opening up the beaches tonight. We see Texas wanting to go back to business as normal. You guys are the promoters. What happens if somebody comes to you in the state of Florida and Texas is like, let's go, AEG, Live Nation, time to go back to work?
Geoff, take this one.
I mean, I don't think we would approach it any different than we would after any kind of I mean, this is different, like I said, but any kind of unfortunate issue, and take it slow, be responsible, and
who are you going to take your cue from? Are you taking it from the top, from the president? Or are you going to take it from the governors? Or are you going to take it from the CDC? I mean,
let me tell you, I take Mike from Michael Rapino.
That's what he's your boss. He's your president, of course. But
his instincts are right, and honestly, and so is Jay and everybody. I mean, these are smart people. This is difficult times. They look for us to support and stand strong together, just like we are. I mean, if someone said to me that 97% of people would actually listen to a directive, a lot of us are on the same page. I think now we just need to sit there and progress it to more solution based instead of mystery based, I guess. And that's hard, but we're going to do our best.
Well, here's the deal. So listen, each state is going to make their decisions, and reality is that the national government has set out some basic guidelines. They're available. Anybody who does what we do probably read the parts that apply to us. What will happen is you will see a slow unwind in each community, depending upon the amount of issues they have. Obviously, most of the live events we see are in larger population bases, so you're going to see a slower unwind. At the end of this month, a lot of the cities, and this is the way it works, it will come down from the governors, and the governors will make decisions for their state with the guidance of the national government and with the CDC and all that stuff. The local municipalities will either decide to follow suit or not follow suit. But for instance, if Denver wants shows to happen, but the governor doesn't, the governor wins.
Right.
Okay. But the governor, the states are all in communication. The municipalities, the large municipalities, and the government and the governors are in direct communication. It's Denver and Colorado are going to move in lockstep.
Oh, we just lost Don. Well,
and this as well.
Did you lose Don?
I'm here. Did I lose you?
Yeah, you lost us for a second. But go ahead.
These municipalities are reaching out to people like Geoff and myself to help craft mechanisms and what we think are the possibilities of what can work and what can't work. So we're going to be talking to them, and we are talking to them about the things that are possible to do and what's not possible to do. And what will happen is it will unwind slowly. You're not going to see the stadium open tomorrow, even if they open the beaches in Florida. Right. It's just not going to happen that quickly. It'll happen slowly, and and with a cure, or with not even a cure, with some kind of treatment, will amplify that quickly. And hey, Weinstock, does this look more like Garcia?
Yeah. Andrew Weinstock, Sheriff in. I like it. I love the what do you call it? Living in this world and nobody's taking care of themselves. Jeff Ross had a great joke. He's like, it's going to be great to see everybody's lips back to normal because you can't get the Botox. Well, guys, my main thing is I just don't want, you guys have to make the decisions based on your perception of what's safe too. I think that, and that's kind of what I'm getting from you is I don't think you can rely on the politicians. It has to be down to the medical expert, because I think all the politicians have, they all want to see the economy get up and going. Do you see social distancing at shows? Like, Don, you were talking to 200 to 500 seaters or something like that, the small venues you were saying. I mean, how would that work if they say social distancing, but you can have shows?
It's going to be tough. I mean, we all know that we can say that, yeah, we're going to stand 6 feet apart from each other, but the chances are pretty unlikely. On the flip side, though, come, let's just say July 15th, let's say August 1st, what's going to happen is that they're going to unwind things, and, they're going to unwind the mall and the restaurants and things like that. And there will be a level of, you cannot force people to stand 6 feet apart from each other at all points. No. But at least in our venues, we have a level of supervision. Maybe you'll have to wear a mask for a while. You may have to wear a mask.
Shows like that, you're talking to 200 to 500 seaters or something like that. Yes.
And these are the things that may be happening that may give us a chance to get these venues open sooner rather than later. But the reality is that I see comments on this. The reality is it's unlikely that you can really do a half full venue, because those 50% of the people will probably still pack up with each other at the bathrooms and at the turnstiles and at the concession stands. But there are other things that will work.
It's so scary. My friend came over to talk to me today, and he's like, Kravitz, they're saying music 7 months. I'm like, yes, 7 to 18 months from now. So that they're looking at either this November or next November, which I think is one of the scariest things I can imagine, not being able to see a show. What are you guys going to do for all that time? How many phone calls and Zoom meetings can you take? Are you booking virtual shows? Is that like something you're thinking is a possibility? Like trying to do something?
I listen for Don. Can I take this for 1 second here?
Yeah, please.
I've been booking virtual shows my entire career, just so you know.
Come on.
That's what happens in my mind, that's what happens in my mind, whether I wanted to or not. So the answer is I can't wait to get back on the field, but you know what? We got to make sure it's safe, and we'll do that. I really do think, and I mean this with all my integrity, is that we do have a very strong, resilient business that understands how to shape shift or be malleable in order when difficult situations happen. I mean, I don't know how many times I've been there, and here comes a thundercloud for a festival that has 50,000 people, and somehow 2 hours later, after they've went somewhere and come back, we're down on the Parkway doing MIA. So that's not the same, but we're going to do this. We're up for this. That's what we do. I mean, we don't know all the answers, but we're resilient. We're good. Don's really good at what he does. I'm okay what I do, and our bosses are smart as hell.
Jeff's really goddamn good at what he does.
Yeah.
And he's totally right. And you know what? Maybe the show's not going on today, but I guarantee you, we both guarantee you, we will make sure the show goes on as soon as humanly possible.
All right. But let me just say, for instance, we're sitting here 7 to 18 months. You got a band, let's say Fish, for instance, and Fish is like, guys, we want to do a virtual tour. Is there stuff in place to do that? Where you could have ticketing and people can tune in and all of that, and maybe go into a virtual space? Is that a possibility?
Well, when that's all it's on, yes, of course. When I think people have the decision or the opportunity to decide between tribing and watching it on a screen, no. Or even in VR, octagoggles or whatever you guys were saying. No, I don't think it's the same thing. You don't have the same experience, thankfully. But yeah, for now, yeah, there is business in doing that. I have no idea. I mean, I barely could get on this webcast. So I don't think I'm the guy to start putting on virtual concerts. And it's like an old video from MTV or something. I don't know, but that's what I know. But all kidding aside, I think part of it, but also some of the good news is some of the unbelievable stuff I'm watching. I'm also happy because it's a great commercial for how great live concerts are.
Yeah. Oh, it's unbelievable. It's such a loss for all of us. We're reeling. Well, I know we're in good.
I mean, Greg, you're this show really says, in my opinion, this is, we're all loosely community related here, right? Mm-hmm. It's like it's small knit but big wide net. That will not change, and hopefully politicians will understand it's not about the people that go to the show, it's the people that talk about the show. It's about the people that work the show, the bartenders, the waitresses, the ushers, the hands. It's trickle-down economics at its highest. And it's a business plan that happens in one day, has the most impact of any business, immediate impact to the entire area, to entire, hotels, etc.
Oh yeah.
So we'll get there.
Yeah, I mean that the whole thing. I mean, I just don't know how willing people are going to be to travel when this is all over. But you know what? We are going to get there, and I'm glad we're in good hands. And I appreciate you guys letting me needle you and ask the tough questions. And they are really tough questions, and there are no answers. So I appreciate you even trying to formulate an answer. That these guys. You have a ton of important stuff going on. One of the things I'm doing this week, I know you guys are different involvement in, is talking about cannabis because it's 420 week all week. And Don Strasburg, you are in the seat of cannabis use there in Denver. You guys were the first guys to go legal with the cannabis on a big way, and also now with psychedelic mushrooms. I mean, Denver's just a huge party right now.
Hold on a second. Hold on. I have a quick question. You mean it's not legal here?
Well, wait. Are there shops in Philadelphia?
Damn it!
Jeff,
darn it!
Come in the middle a little bit.
They told me it was coming. Sorry. They told me it was coming. There.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, the East Coast.
That was my attempt at humor. Sorry.
Thank you. I liked it. The East Coast is not really going where the West Coast, at the same rate where the West of the United States are going. So I think it creates a whole host of. I'm sure. I know we're all going to get there, especially now since cannabis use is up almost 200%. I know in my house it's up probably 400%. I could tell by what we're going through. But Don, have you changed anything with the way cannabis, or is it just like let anybody bring in what they want and go to the smoking area? Or
we're pretty much we like to let things be as much as possible, and if you're not bothering people around you and they're not bothering you, then we're all good,
But how about as a commodity like beer inside the venues? When do you think?
Okay, so if you want to get into that, it's interesting, and I actually am really happy with the Colorado's approach towards the cannabis laws in regards to live entertainment, because I think that the fact that we're not. Because we don't sell it in the venues or anything like that, and it's not really legal in the venues, it's not regulated in the venues. Right. And it sounds weird to say, but there's no government person in the venues like going, hey, that person isn't consuming marijuana appropriately, because then they get up in your grill. It's like, to some degree, it's like if you leave people, people can find their own weed, you know what I mean? So it's like you can bring your weed to a show without a problem. Do I need to really sell it because you forgot to bring it with you, or your friend next to you doesn't have it? Yeah.
We can all find it, but let's face it, it's become a huge revenue source.
Yeah, kind of. But the thing is that how many? What are you gonna? How much weed is a person on a sales level? It's like I don't see it as that. The consumption rate isn't that big, and then the negativity of having the government all over every show that we do to enforce the rules around cannabis use and distribution. I'm hesitant to want to go there. I kind of like, hey, do your thing and nobody bothers you. In some communities, because I also I work closely with our Northwest region of AEG. And the Northwest has a very different authoritative approach towards cannabis, and cannabis is actually under the auspice of alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. So what happens is that the liquor license and the marijuana are under the same auspice. So suddenly those liquor people who enforce liquor rules at the venues are now freaking out when somebody smokes weed in the venue, because now that's their auspice. So actually, the venue gets in a lot more trouble if somebody's smoking weed because these people have an authority to control it.
Right.
In Colorado, it's not part of the same world. So the liquor people are like, not my problem. And it is their problem, but it's not really their problem. And to some degree, I think we have a good thing, and I don't really want to mess with it.
Well, let's face it. We've been smuggling bud into shows for years. And when I would go, I was talking to Geoff the other day about going to the early Electric Factory shows, and we brought up Aerosmith in I think it was 78 and 79, back to back in Philadelphia. And both shows canceled. One time, someone threw an M80 on stage and detached Steven Tyler's retina. And then they in the first song, and I remember it was a GA concert. The place was packed. People were firing bottle rockets across the venue, and it was just bedlam back in those days. It wasn't organized like it is now. It was just like totally nuts. And the second year, someone threw a glass bottle on stage. Same thing, first song, and they canceled the show. Geoff, the East Coast is not up to speed where the West Coast is, but eventually it's all going to change, right?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. We are not. It is in the Philadelphia area, like decriminalized majorly. They won't even stop you if you're smoking on the street for the most part. There's medical marijuana. This might be a good time maybe for the government to look at the fact of how much money it could create as we're supporting the need of people that have been out of work, and just legalize it everywhere and just, tax it and get more money into recovery, et cetera, et cetera. And that's my.
Yeah, it's been, I don't know if they would exist one without the other. It sure makes these shows interesting, and for me, it was a total eye-opening experience when I was a teenager. All right, we're gonna dive into a couple of questions. Terry Coughlin wanted to ask about platinum tickets. Can you guys explain the platinum ticket pricing? I think, is that a Live Nation?
Well, when you take a ticket and you put it in a platinum bar, it's expensive.
Geoff, how's your sound? Can you hear me?
I'm sorry. What are you saying? What about platinum tickets?
Yeah, about platinum tickets is the question. Can you explain to everybody
platinum
what
tickets are? They're tickets that are secondarily priced on the Ticketmaster platform for people that want to bid on them.
So it's basically trying to circumvent the scalpers and what's going on in the scalpers and be able to access the money, and that money goes to the band as well, right? As opposed to in the scalpers' pockets.
Yes, there's different deals that are cut, but yes, there's participation with artists, and sometimes charities get the money as well. It's a way to keep the money out of a platform and I mean out of a secondary platform, and either the artist gets rewarded or they can also award it to other charities and such.
All right, let's go to another question. Can you see the question on the screen?
Yeah.
How flexible are artists
Yeah.
being to promoters in terms of guarantees or prepaid funds for future events that are indirectly tied to ticket sales?
Very. The entire community, artists, promoters, agents, are all recognizing that this is uncharted territory, and everybody understands that we've got to we got to be able to recognize that when we're back, we all have to be able to pay our staffs and keep the lights on, and we've all got to figure out how to do this together. And some of the the nonsense, but the fighting that we would have, that may be put aside for a second, because right now we all need to be thoughtful, and we can't drive. The ticket prices have to probably come down as much as possible. I mean, it's not like the labor and the costs come down, but we got to realize that it's not only is this Corona thing and the quarantine an immediate problem, but there's 22 million people out of jobs, and we have to recognize that we're not coming back to the same world we were in a month ago.
Oh, no, not at all. Geoff, you want to tackle that one?
Same thing. I mean, we're all going to have to take a hit. It's all going to hurt all of us in some way. And if we all accept that, we're all going to work together to get it back on track. And maybe it got way a little bit too out there. And maybe we can rein some of it back and really be mindful of put yourself in other people's shoes, which is, I come from, I know most all of us do come from a fan experience. So anytime that we do scaling, I don't not just throw it on a piece of paper, although you can get anesthetized. I understand what that investment means to a fan, and we all try to do that, especially our generation of promoters. I shouldn't take a swipe at any other generation, but we certainly do because we were fans. We bought tickets.
Yeah.
So it's always important, and I think that if we can work together, we can get it back on track. If anybody wants more than that's there, we're going to go back to exactly where we were before, and that's not good.
I just wanted to tell you, for that Aerosmith show that got canceled, the first one, my mother wrote a letter to Electric Factory and said, I want my money back. And I found a copy of the letter recently, and the ticket price was $7.
That was a lot of money in 1923.
All right. Shirley Halperin from Variety is asking, the question is, how long can you postpone for? 2 years, forever? I mean, when do you finally have to cancel, or can you just?
Well, I mean, the thing is that I don't know, the fact that now we have a refund policy in place for postponed shows. It's going to be thought through as much as possible. Remember, the artists are also the ones who have their name on these tickets, and they have a relationship with the fans. So the reality is that they are thinking about the people, the consumer, as much as anybody. Ah, shit.
Max is asking about the residency business. I guess that's the Vegas angle. Geoff, you have any 2 cents on there?
I'm sure that's primarily Vegas. Yeah. Well, I'm sure legs will be postponed accordingly to whatever the directives are, and we'll do our best to retain the business going forward. I mean, those residencies certainly are attractive. Were attractive to a lot of people coming to that city, and that city needs that kind of. I mean, that's a destination city, so hopefully we get back on track there. But residencies will be postponed accordingly to different legs that make sense, to be safe and do so.
Yeah, I think
it is a different dynamic, though. I mean, casino business is probably a different dynamic. I don't know how they'll play them, how that will play out, if that's a different, treated differently. I don't know. That's up to the politicals.
Yeah, Vegas, they're already talking about trying to open it back up. I guess the mayor wants to go to the governor to open it back up and start taking people's temperature and have dealers wearing masks and stuff like that. I mean, that's another place that wasn't made to be shut down. I mean, I don't think any city was made to be shut down like it is now. We're in a really interesting conundrum, and I don't envy either of you guys and with what's going on. And I know you have a lot of tough questions coming at you every day. I appreciate your time and coming out to talk to Geoff. I see you tuning into the show every day. I appreciate your loyalty. And Don, we've been friends for decades. It's great to sit down and talk to you and introduce you to everybody. So I want to thank you guys. Want to plug anything? I know Live Nation has the Crew Nation thing going on. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes, we're very excited. We started Crew Nation that we're going to match $10 million with donations to people on the road that are not on the road now. Forget the people that are putting up the shows, putting down the shows. It really is an industry. I know we know that. A lot of people do know that, but these are people that rely on their next gig. And, Don and I, we've been around long enough that people are like, I can't wait to road. Next thing you see them on like a tour later just because they needed a month off. Because it's a way of life. It's what I can't thank those folks enough. Put shows up and down, whether it be that U2 Claw or a drag show or something, like, how'd you get this up? So even with Watch Throne, when I was doing Watch Throne, like, you get this up and down in a night, like, people are marveled at it. But these are very, very talented that don't have anything and don't have jobs right now, and that always aren't, bands can't keep them on retainer. So we're trying to raise some money for that Crew Nation. Great swag. If you can donate, please do. And we're very proud of that.
Great.
How about Don? You have anything you want to talk about? Any fundraising?
I mean, nothing, right now, nothing that comes to mind besides the fact that I know so many artists are doing, feeds and stuff. I was just talking to the Dropkick Murphy camp. I know the String Cheese camp's doing it. I know a ton of camps are doing, they're doing, they're doing feeds and stuff, broadcasts in order to, raise some money for their crews. It's tough, and there are a lot of people who work in and around the live community who are really, really deeply impacted by this. And, we're all just trying to figure out the best way we can safely get moving again. And, we know how many people have just given their lives and it just courses through their blood. So we're doing everything we can.
Yeah, it's something else. I know that, and everybody's streaming, raising money for musicians too. I know our streaming show and Travis Larendine down there with Sophie King and Ben Baruch is killing it, raising money for people and getting the hands of the musicians too, which is just as important. I mean, everybody's out of work right now, and as an event photographer, I don't see too many events coming up in the future for me to photograph. So I'll be talking to everybody here for quite a while. It seems like, good or bad. I mean, it's unfortunate where we are right now, and I wish you guys the best luck, and I appreciate you coming on today. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having us.
All right, Don. Geoff, thank you very much.
Thanks, Don.
We'll see you around. I mean, two legends, two promoter legends. I saw my buddy Dan Berkowitz in there, the two favorite promoters. Yes, these guys are the guys that help keep us entertained and are taking care of us in these times. And I know it's tough with the refunds, and everybody's, we're going to figure out what's going to happen, and everybody's going to get their money back, and we're going to see concerts again. I don't know when. I told the wife I wanted to open up the garage and jam out of the garage. She's like, no. So I'll be playing tomorrow night at 10 o'clock on the feed for all my people that want to turn in and get freaky in my rainbow firm with my lasers. I want to thank my guests today, because these guys are busy. They got a lot going on, and they really let me go in there and ask them some difficult questions. And, there's no answers. There are no answers. But ultimately, everybody should get their money back if they can't go to the shows anymore. And we're in a different paradigm now. But it's not as easy as it sounds, because we also want to go to the next concert and see the next thing. I mean, I can't wait till I see all you guys together again. So 420 weekend, Friday night here. You guys are with me, Geoff Kravitz, on 420 Live. And we're wrapping up an amazing week. Our guest, we talked CBD this week with Chewy. I want to give Chewy's company a plug, because he's giving everybody a nice discount. Also, organics, they have a 20% off code, Kravitz 420. Now, that's a great code right there, right? Kravitz 420 for all you guys out there. The contest, Heady Old School Glass. Where is that thing? I keep it within 3 feet of me at all times. My Heady Old School Glass. You can enter to win this on my Instagram at Geoff Kravitz. And you have to follow me, follow Heady Old School Glass, and tag 2 of your friends you want to share that thing when we're allowed to share the pipes again. That's the important part, when we're allowed to share the pipes. Guests of the show receive a solo pipe. So, Don, if you'd like one, I send it to you. You can give it to one of your friends. Geoff, I already sent one. And also, we have a solo pipe. I dropped Tommy Chong's off yesterday after the show. And Asher Chocolates, my friend Jeff Asher, today hit me up and said, we want to give chocolate. They want to sweeten up everybody's day that's been on the show. So all our guests are going to get some Asher's Chocolates. He already sent me a basket for Tommy. I'm going to drop that off to him when I get it. And Tommy doesn't know it's coming, so he'll probably appreciate it. And I'm also bringing him a beautiful piece from Heady Old School Glass, because I saw him smoking on the internet with out of a Fiji water bottle with some kind of bone in it. And I'm like, this guy needs I was like, what do you use? Like, I got these homemade bongs. Like, we're going to step up Tommy's game with the heady old school glass piece. And I think I hit up everybody. Oh yeah, Zoom. If you guys, I am going to have a little smoke. Hold on. It starts. It's 5 o'clock. I got to start it or else I'll lose it. Hold on. Zoom start. Boom. Okay, good. I just started the Zoom hangout. If you want to come and hang out there. Yes, June would join. If you want to come hang out there, come on out. We're going to have a little public smoke because you guys know I'm not smoking here anymore because you guys are all, we're going legit. We're going legit. We got some big deals. Oh, David Wolf, loving the Asher's chocolate pretzels. You've been craving good chocolate. Asher's, you know what? They still have their Easter candy up. I saw the other day. So if you want to get up there and get some discounted Easter candy, that's what I went to the store actually and did that. And my daughter was like, Dad, those chocolate covered the almond M&Ms are the best things ever. So now I got to go back and see if they have the 80% off chocolate M&Ms. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I really, there's a Zoom party after hang. I'm up there. I think I'm up there. I'm up there doing my thing. Come on in, say hi. And thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you all. The support, the love, the outreach, the reaction to Tommy yesterday was hilarious. I read every comment and you guys just cracked me up. Thank you, everybody. Stay safe. Take care of each other. Take care of somebody you don't know. Somebody needs something, you got an extra mask, you got an extra bar of Asher's chocolate, throw it by him. Here's the hug. Have a good weekend. We're going to have Afro Man this week. We're going to be talking to AJ, some Sour Diesel this week. We got a whole big plan, and I'm working on the 420 celebration. It's no rest at the Kravitz house. 7 days, 24/7. I finish this thing, and I'm already thinking about tomorrow. Thanks again for Don Strasburg and Geoff Gordon for today. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great day. Enjoy your Friday night.